There are 3 types of subject lines that every coach and online course creator should be using for their emails. And when you use these 3 types of subject line, you're going to get more of your emails opened. Hey, happy Email Marketing Wednesday. I'm absolutely amazed that only around a quarter of you who tune in to this show are actually subscribed to it. So make sure that you hit subscribe, and that way I'll make more and more content just like this to help you to make more money and help more people with your email marketing. My background in psychology means that I apply a lot of really unusual techniques to my email marketing, and I test a lot of different stuff. And 3 of the techniques that I applied made a massive difference and actually brought me in 18 times more sales of one of my offers when I applied these 3 particular techniques. I've put together a brand new course where I teach that whole system of the 3 techniques, and you can get it for free because you tune into this show, right? Awesome. Freebies. So go over to emailmarketingsorted.com to get full access to the whole thing, or you can click the link in the description. So let's get stuck into the psychology of making subject lines that really work for you and actually make them way easier for you to write. Because I know if you're like a lot of my students, you write a great email and then you sit and with your head in your hands try to squeeze out a subject line. It's like mental constipation, right? The good news is once you understand the principles of how subject lines work, what they're really supposed to do, once you get your head into that game and then apply the 3 different types of subject line there are, then you are going to find it so much easier. But the problem is most people actually default to just 1, maybe 2 of these types of subject line. And yes, one of them is the curiosity subject line. Let's tackle that straight away. Most people are actually doing the curiosity subject line completely wrong. It's so bad that it even makes the marketing from the year 2000 shudder. It feels so old that it was even old back then. We're going to get into that. We're actually going to tackle that one first. But before we do, let's just get our head in the game, because this is like your mental shortcut to writing better subject lines. The job of your subject line is to literally entice people to read the email and to say why this email is different. So you've got to think about the job of the subject line is to say, hey, the thing that's inside, because you can't see it right now, it's almost like a store with no sign outside of it, or a box with no label on it. Where we're having a box delivered and we're like, I don't know who it's for. Is it for me? Is it for my girlfriend? Is it for your partner? Is it for your kids? Who is it for? And is it the thing I was expecting? Which room of the house does it need to go in? We don't know anything from the outside unless we give it a label. And that subject line is that label. It tells us what is inside. It tells us whether the thing is new. We want to know that the thing is different. We want to know the thing is relevant. We want to know it's beneficial. And we want to know that it is valuable. Your subject line needs to do all of that in just a few characters without getting cut off. It's quite a lot of heavy lifting to do on just a few characters in that email inbox, right? So let's get into these subject line types. The first one we're going to talk about, as I said, is curiosity. Most people think that subject lines should be really curious. I just grabbed one out of my inbox that somebody sent to me in the last couple of years, and it just said, my biggest mistake. That is a standard curiosity-driven subject line. Why are we going to open that subject line? Why are we going to open that email? To find out what this guru's big mistake was. But that's the only reason we're going to open the email. It's not super compelling, right? And most of us are kind of blasé and blind to that sort of subject line now anyway, right? So we're only going to open it to find out what that person's big mistake was. And yes, of course, one of the nice things about it is if it's a guru who you respect, if it's a thought leader or somebody whose stuff you really like and you hold them in a high regard, having that person admit a mistake, that's a big thing. But if you don't, you have to be a pretty sizable guru for it to really, and you have to have a close relationship with that guru to really have that kind of subject line make a difference. So what do we do instead? Well, instead of my big mistake, which is very them interest rather than our own self-interest as a reader, we're going to use a technique that I coined called compound curiosity. And to do this takes an ordinary curiosity subject line and puts it on steroids. It takes it into what works right now. And these work so well. And what you do to create a compound curiosity subject line is it is more than one piece of curiosity in that subject line. It creates more than one itch in their head. So to improve that subject line of my biggest mistake, one of the simplest ways of doing that is just to put it down to 2 words, which are big mistake. And maybe uppercase the word big. When we see the subject line big mistake, our brain has many questions. Whose mistake is this? Did I, as the reader, make a mistake? Was it the mistake of the person who's writing the email? What is the mistake? Lots and lots of questions, just by making it much more compounding in its curiosity. So instead of using singular, curious-based subject lines, compound the curiosity, make it so it even appeals to their self-interest. This is the kind of subject line you're going to use for your regular emails to get more attention inside of people's email inboxes. You can actually describe a lot of your personality and share all your personality through these kind of subject lines, which I like to do as well. I use a lot of innuendo and double entendre and silliness in my subject lines. So I think I did one the other day, which was like, I've been playing with my, and then banana, or why was I playing with my banana, or something to do with a banana, had the banana emoji in, and the response I got from was great. Lots of opens, lots of clicks, and sales. So really, really effective way of doing it. The second type of subject line is the benefit subject line. This is the one that if you were to go onto Google or ChatGPT right now, this is the kind of subject line it will teach you to do over and over again. This is the common wisdom. And the reason the benefit subject line works, but you shouldn't use it all the time, by the way, right? You need to use a combination of three of these. And I think the next one's going to really surprise you, by the way. But the benefit subject line works because it appeals to people's self-interest. They're thinking, what's inside this email that's actually going to help me, right? And it's really about getting them to focus on what's inside the email. But for this to work, and the bit that everybody gets wrong when I'm giving critiques, is that the benefit to somebody needs to be specific. You and I, we now live in a world where we are more cynical, more skeptical, more educated on marketing than ever. So if somebody just says, do this in the subject line, I'm like, I don't know, do this about what? What area of my life that's going to help me on? It's going to help me with my business, it's going to help me with my fitness, is it going to help me with my relationships, it's going to help me with my travel plans? What does that even mean? So in order to get a benefit subject line to work, today, in the current psychology of the market, we need to take an extra step, because that old way of doing email marketing is not working anymore, because we're all wiser to it. So how do you take that extra step? Is by being more specific. So if you have a sleep offer where you help people to get more sleep, maybe it's a supplement, maybe it's a bedtime routine, maybe whatever it's going to be, right? A better subject line would be, do this, get 1 hour extra sleep tonight. Lots of specificity. It says, do this, okay, that's a benefit. You're going to tell me in the email itself something to do. That appeals to our human need for instant gratification. Do this. Oh, I'm expecting that when I get in the email, you're going to give me a quick thing to do that I'll be able to quickly implement to get the benefit you're promising. And then we're getting specific on the benefit. 1 hour of extra sleep. You're not just some extra sleep. It's not do this, get extra sleep tonight. It's do this, get 1 hour's extra sleep tonight. 1 hour is the specificity. And then the final bit there's another bit of specificity, which is sleep. You know, we're saying it's extra sleep. It's not just like, do this. Okay, about what? Do this, get 1 hour extra sleep tonight. Oh, it's specifically 1 hour and it's extra sleep. And then there's an extra element of specificity, which is the word tonight. Oh, this is gonna happen quickly. This is something I'm gonna read in the email. It's gonna help me get one extra whole hour sleep, something I've been struggling with. That's why I'm on the person's email list. And it's gonna happen so quickly, and it's gonna be so easy to implement. I can do it tonight. There is a lot going on in that subject line, which makes it a benefit subject line that's actually effective, rather than blah, 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 do this, make more sales. Ugh. How do you take this makes more sales and make it more exciting and more benefit driven and more specific? Well, you say 18x more sales from my emails. Oh, 18 times, it's more sales and it's from emails. Because if I didn't put from my emails and I just said 18x more sales, I might resist opening that, because you might be telling me to do something I just don't want to do. You might be telling me I have to do cold outreach, and I don't like doing cold outreach. Or you might be telling me to start a Pinterest board, and I don't want to start a Pinterest board. Whereas if I say 18x more sales from my emails, it's so specific that when the person who's on my email list, because they're learning about email marketing, they see that, they're like, yeah, I want to get that. Okay, here's another one, just to make it a bit more meta to do with today's video. These 3 subject lines get opened. So I'm talking about subject lines. So if someone's on an email list to learn about email marketing, they're going to want to know the word subject lines. That's specific. 3 subject lines, a specific number of subject lines, and then what's the outcome? They get opened. These 3 subject lines get opened. And again, by saying these, we're implying that the result, the full solution is right inside the email. Lots of psychology going on in each of those examples. The place you're going to use these is going to be generally partway through a launch or some kind of campaign. You're going to probably start off with some more of the compound curiosity ones to stand out in the inbox. Then partway through the campaign, you're going to really want to overtly talk about the benefits of what the person's looking for and of your program, of your solution, right in the subject line. That's going to help you get a lot more opens. And speaking of overt is the third type of email subject line. Let me give you some examples of overt ones. And before I do, let me tell you what an overt subject line is. Actually, that'd be pretty useful for you to know, right? An overt subject line is where you tell the person everything, pretty much, about what you're saying in the email, but you do it in the subject line. The purpose of an overt subject line is to have it so they know what's going on, even if they don't open the email. It's like putting the information on the outside the box so they don't even need to open the box. What we don't want is to have, and I'm going to give you a whole bunch of examples in a second, right? Which I think you'll find really interesting. They're overt, but they're about completely different things. One of the things that's really interesting about these overt ones is when you're doing a launch, for example, the last thing you want to have happen is for you to be using just benefit-driven or compound curiosity subject lines, and so to have some people who don't open your emails that week for whatever reason not realize you had a launch, that you were opening something new and it was closing. You want people to know what's going on even if they don't open the emails. You want to sell from outside of the box itself. Here's some examples. Save the date. That's going to tell people, oh, there's some kind of event happening. Is it a launch? Is it an in-person retreat? What is it? I'm going to have a little look. It's your challenge. It's a webinar. Save the date, right? Closing in 60 minutes. You see this a lot, but people are starting to shy away from that because they're like, oh, it's a little bit too direct. It needs to be direct. The last thing you want to do when you're closing up an offer is be cute in the subject line. You need people to realize when they open up that email, client account on their phone, you want them to realize as they're scrolling through, oh, something's closing in 60 minutes. I want to just check what that is in case I want to jump into it. You don't want to hide that fact. Another one, announcement. Oh, there's an announcement happening. It's a bit like a save the date. I am live. That is great if you've just done a live stream, if you're about to do a live stream, if you're doing your webinar, if you're doing your live class that you do for your community or a free sample class. I am live. Here's an even more specific example. If you take the guru in your space, and let's say you're doing an interview with them, so let me say I did one which was like Homozy and me -live stream. Homozy and me -live stream. We know what's happening. I'm doing a live stream with Alex Homozy, whom I market know. We're not burying it behind some kind of tinsel that gets in the way. A lot of the times people are hiding their message. Starting now is another great example. Or what about register for Tuesday's masterclass? Everything you need to know is there. All of these subject lines are saying what is happening from the outside without them having to open the email. You're going to use these when something is happening. You're going to use them in every single one of your launches. I'm really curious which of these is the one you haven't been using as much as you could be that you're going to implement next. I'd love to read that in the comments. Please let me know. I read, and I personally respond every single comment. I would love to know for you which of these you're like, do you know what it is? I don't really use that type of subject line as much as I should. I'm going to give it a shot. I would love to read that. And by the way, I emailed my list every single day for 10 years. Check out this video to see what happened.